Hello, hello. Hi to TikTok. Hi to YouTube. Facebook, I see you too, and Twitch. And hope everybody's good. Alyssa, I see you in the chat. Did you get my PayPal request? Because I have your stuff packed up, ready to go. Let me know if you got the PayPal request. I hope I sent it to the right email. Let me know. Hello, Debbie 2 Scooter. Hold on a minute. Let me get to YouTube proper so I can see. Live streaming. Yes, here we go. Let's go to live chat. There's a weird thing here. Look at this goal. Share how you'll celebrate. How will I celebrate? Let me make a goal of it. Let's see. How am I going to celebrate? How am I going to celebrate? It's asking me how I'm going to celebrate. It says set a goal and then how am I going to celebrate? How should I celebrate? How should I celebrate? Let me see. Oh, I know. Hold on, so let me put it in now. I hope that you can still hear me. I'll put it in now in a second. Anyway, it's got a new thing on YouTube. I just going to try it out. It's going to have a fun. So, where was I going with this? We're going to talk about Delphi Day 13. We're going to talk about a case out of North Carolina, caregivers who, it happened during the summer. They had a vulnerable man, an individual in their care. They were caregivers. He died. And they staged it to look like something it wasn't. To get out of it, turns out it's a homicide. Turns out they're charged with murder. Charges are upgraded. We're going to talk about that. And let's see. I'll host a question and answer center. No. I'll host a private dance party. Okay, get inspired with examples. Oh boy. Okay, let's see. There we go. Just trying this out. All right, so let's see. Now, hi Tina Medley, how are you? Debbie D. Scooter, Alyssa. Yeah, Alyssa, let me know if you got the PayPal. All right, I'm going to go to this North Carolina story first, okay? Let's do this. Two days ago, the charges were upgraded. And hang on one second. No, it's not. You know what? I think the internet is so crazy. You're getting the same picture of these two anyway. Well, to save time and And I don't have 1,000 windows open. I only have 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do this. Is this? Yes. I'm just going to put this here. This is the couple right here, okay? Right there. So now we'll go on. Like I said, this started out in the summer, and then it just continued from there. So. Okay. All right. So, back in August, the grand jury has advanced charges against the couple, but now it's even escalated more than that. So let me get to the latest thing. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the two suspects, those you see there in the picture, they're facing upgraded charges. It happened in February of 2024. Sorry, that was not in the summer. The death of a man with intellectual disabilities, Joseph Blevins. He was 46, and he was classified as vulnerable. The incident was reportedly caught on a camera at a motel in Pigeon Forge. Now, the couple was on a trip with their children and this man. But this man was in the car. He was locked. He was hit, beaten in the car, and then locked in the car for several hours. The two suspects who were his caretakers, Dustin Lee Suttles and Caitlin Renee Elliott of, I don't know if it's Nebo or Nebo, North Carolina, were previously facing abuse of a vulnerable adult. And now they're facing murder charges. The Pigeon Forge Police Department began investigating the case in February. And February 4th, Suttles and Elliott were arrested in McDowell County, North Carolina. The indictment filed in Sevier County accuses Suttles and Elliott of committing the murder while perpetrating abuse and neglect on or about January 27th through January 29th. So, let's see now. And I'm just trying to see if we've got the more on these two, but from what I remember is that they went home and tried to stage this as something after they left Pigeon Forge. And it wasn't washing. I'm going to go back in February to something. Where there's some more information. Okay, so back on February 6th, there were warrants that were released. New details in the investigation regarding the death of a vulnerable adult from North Carolina. Warrants obtained from the General Sessions Court in the county of Sevier County, Tennessee, state that 38-year-old Dustin Suttles and 31-year-old Caitlin Elliott of, again, it's Nebo, North Carolina, have been charged with abusing and neglecting a person with severe intellectual disability, autistic disorder, and schizophrenia. And according to the court documents, the victim is said to have been seen in a locked car for multiple hours after being beaten by Suttles. The suspects are named as the victim's caregivers through North Carolina Outreach Home Care. Now, It said News 13 visited the North Carolina Outreach Home Care's Marion, North Carolina office and left several phone calls, but they did not hear, they didn't get a statement back at that time. Again, this is back in February. According to the warrants, the incident occurred on January 29th. It was caught on camera at Willowbrook Lodge in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Much of what happened occurred more than 100 miles away in McDowell County. On February 4th, the McDowell County Sheriff's Office investigators notified the Pigeon Forge Police Department of the death of a vulnerable adult. 3 days later, the suspects were taken into custody in McDowell County, where as of Monday, they awaited extradition to Tennessee. Willowbrook Lodge declined a request at that time, and then there were 911 calls from McDowell County Emergency Services that were requested but were not available yet. Let's see what else. There was other charges back in August. Okay, let's see here. They were extradited on February 19th. According to the warrants, let's see here. Pigeon Forge Police Department obtained the warrants on Suttles. So here's the warrants. I'm looking at the warrants now and see what we have here. On the above date, Dustin Lee Suttles and Caitlin Renee Elliott are captured on security cameras at Willowbrook Lodge in Pigeon Forge, abusing and neglecting a vulnerable adult who is diagnosed with severe intellectual disability, autistic disorder, and schizophrenia. Suttles and Elliott are employed as caregivers through North Carolina Outreach Home Care. Video shows the individual being locked in a car for multiple hours, as well as Suttles striking him multiple times. Suttles and Elliott were arrested in McDowell County. They were being held in Sevier County Detention Center under $50,000 bonds. And it's unclear whether charges will be filed in North Carolina, but now they have upgraded charges for, let's see here. They're facing murder charges out of Sevier County. New indictment documents filed in the county accused Suttles and Elliott of committing the murder while perpetrating abuse and neglect on or about January 27th through the 29th. So yeah, that's the update on that, and one more, and we'll keep you rest of that. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to keep Delphi for last. I'm going to talk about this guy right over here, 23-year-old out of Michigan. He breaks into his teacher's mom's house and he murders her. Murder is not a solution to your problems. It's only going to create more, but apparently that's what these kids need to be taught, because it's just not making sense the way it should, right? It's crazy. Okay, so let's go on this here. Keeler Township. Okay. All right, let's get this up here. I don't know why this is so tiny. If it's going to be that small, we might as well just leave the one we have up there. All right. The son of an elementary school art teacher has been arrested and arraigned on open murder charges in connection with her death. According to a news release from the Van Buren County Sheriff's Department, Aiden Andrew White, 23 years old, of Benton Harbor, was arraigned in the 7th East District Court in Paw Paw and is being held on a $2 million bond. He's being charged with the open murder and first-degree home invasion in connection with the death of his mother, Gloria White, who was 55 years old. The next hearing for him is December 11th. The incident occurred at Gloria White's home in Van Buren County's Keeler Township at about 5:15 a.m. Deputies responded to the report of a breaking and entering in progress at a house. They found a woman who was later identified as Gloria White unresponsive at the home. She later died of her injuries. Deputies located Aiden White nearby and took him into custody. The school's officials confirmed Friday that Gloria White was an elementary art teacher at Kinchilo and Patrick Hamilton elementary schools in the district. Officials say members of the district's crisis response team are on hand to support students. A letter to the community from the superintendent, Greg Blomgren, stated, "The team will be available in all buildings, and our teachers will be putting forth a tremendous effort in the coming days and weeks to support our students. As we work through grief and treasured memories of our beloved art teacher, let's stand together and surround her classroom and building staff members with love and support. Thank you again for taking the time to remember family members and friends in your thoughts and prayers, and thank you for your continued dedication to our students and district family during this difficult time." Gloria White had posted in the past on an art teacher's website that she had been hired to teach elementary art since 2021. She graduated from Western Michigan University in 1991. She received her master's degree in 95. She taught in grades pre-K through 8th grade during her career. She credited her experiences in teaching art during the Eau Claire Summer Migrant Program for sparking her interest in becoming an elementary school art teacher. So let's see what else we can find out about why this kid would kill his mother. Let's see. Aiden White, right? Aiden White. Okay. All right, let's see. During the call, court records show that the 55-year-old mother called 911 moments before she was killed in an attempt to get help. And during the call, you could actually hear where he gained entry and the assault started taking place. And that is from the Van Buren County Sheriff, Dan Abbott. A neighbor who witnessed the alleged assault came over to the home and tried to stop the attack. Unfortunately, she sustained life-threatening injuries, but he was able to get her son away from his mother. Despite life-saving efforts, White died at the scene. White's son, Aiden, fled the scene. Now we have a little more information, others. But then he was found and arrested at a nearby home. I wonder if he broke into that home too, and if anybody was there and if he did anything that, right? He has since been arraigned on charges of open murder and first-degree home invasion. Thursday's incident wasn't Aiden White's first run-in with the police. He's had several encounters with them. Deputies that came over to assist us from Berrien said that they have quite a history with him. Since his arrest, Aiden White has been cooperative with the investigators. This has been a difficult one, not only for our office, but for the family, said Abbott. I would ask the public to pray for everyone involved. Investigators were able to locate 2 weapons that were used in the murder. Aiden's bond has been set set at $2 million. So we found out a little bit more. Let's see if there's anything else we can find out. All right, let's see. Nope, that's a different one. All right, let me see if this one has anything else. Okay, so here's the house. Right there. And it was around 5:15 a.m. on Thursday. She tried herself to get help. A neighbor came by and tried to help. Crazy. Look at the aftermath of that. It's just nuts. So what we have here. Halloween morning it was. And that's the Sister Lakes area of Keeler Township. She was 55. She was found unresponsive. First responders tried to save her life, but she died at the scene. We're not really... 2 weapons, but we don't know, what kind of weapons they were yet. Let me just see if... What was her name? Gloria White. Gloria White. Gloria White. And let's see, because sometimes there's comments, and there are comments on this one. Let's see if we can gain any insight from that. Nothing there of any. She was, let me see here. Just go over here and see if this is anything better. Okay, so here we have uniform response was dispatched to a break-in in progress in Keeler Township. The caller advised dispatchers her son was breaking in and gave the dispatchers his name prior to him gaining entry. While numerous agencies were en route, he gained entry and took her life. He was taken into custody shortly after by law enforcement arriving on scene, setting up a perimeter in the neighborhood. I would ask that you keep the family in your prayers as well as everyone involved with the call. Let's see. And then from the superintendent, it said, "Dear parents, we have some very sad news to share with you as a school community. As you may have already heard, elementary teacher Gloria White died early this morning at her home. At this time, we do not have further details to share with you as we are still gathering information from the emergency response teams. We would encourage you to have a discussion about this with your students and help dispel any rumors out of respect for Gloria and her family. Members of the crisis response team are available to provide support for our students as they feel the need to do so. The team will be available in all buildings, and our teachers will be putting forth a tremendous effort in the coming days and weeks to support our students. As we work through grief and treasured memories of our beloved art teacher, let us stand together and surround her classroom and building staff members with love and support. Thank you again for taking the time to remember family members and friends in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you for your continued dedication to our students and district family during this difficult time. If you have questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact the building principal or me. And that was from Greg Blumgren, the superintendent. And that looks like probably all there is right now. Some motive. Let's see it yet. Let's see any motive. Not say Aiden Andrew White. I'm going to see if I can. Michigan. No. Maybe. I think let me see, maybe, let me see something if this is, no. But, I don't know, I'll keep looking if they find something else. Terrible thing. Okay, let's talk about Delphi Day 13. Okay, so I'm just going to put graphic up here so we know we're on a different story. No, that's not the story we want. Okay. Hello. All right, let's hold on. I'm trying to fix this. I'm going to stop clicking. I'm not doing any good here. Oh my goodness. What is this? Okay. Oh boy. So let me try to get a graphic up here for Delphi. That's what I was trying to do, but okay, come on. I swear everything is working so slow. The internet, everything. I don't know what is going on. I'm hearing it all over people's machines, I want to say. Just a whole bunch of stuff just going haywire. There was something else that went, oh yeah, like that live last night, and then it started a new one on its own. That's crazy. That's never happened before. That was bizarre. Okay, now my whole Google Chrome just closed down. And not only did it close down, what is going on here? Okay. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm just going to... Let me just reopen it and... Oh my goodness, what is going on? Get over here. You belong over here. We're not restoring you because I don't want everything. Just going to pull up my YouTube because... So sorry. Gotta love technology when it works and when it doesn't work. Right? It's something we all deal with. It's crazy. Alright, YouTube Studio. Okay. Content. Live. Did you know that the YouTube Shorts are now going to be starting, it said starting October 15th. I don't know if that's true that it did. Oh, thank you, Margot K. Thank you for the super chat. Look, you're number one. You're number one. Celebrate them on their first super on a live stream. And look, you're number one. I wonder if that one is because you're one in the goal. Yeah, you're one in the goal, but also your first one. Look at that. Yay, celebrate. How do we celebrate, Margot? It says celebrate. Everybody, how do we celebrate Margot? It says celebrator. Okay. I think I can reply to your super chat. Hold on a minute, but let me reply to it. What be the first to reply? Reply to Margot. Okay, there you go. Now I replied. I don't know if that showed. Where did I reply? Oh, there it is. Okay. That's interesting. All right. Kevin Leonard. Goals. Oh, wow. Look at everybody. Dance party. Oh, I get to reply. Let's see. Okay, there we've got that. Now, Debbie D, thank you. Okay, there we go. Now let's go to Delphi. Delphi. Trial day 13. Trial day 13. You know, whoever's doing this drawing in the court, I don't know, it reminds me of a cartoon character or something, the drawing they're doing when they do the drawing. So I'm just going to put this one there. So, Scooter, you should really get your butt up there for the closing arguments. We'll get you a nice warm sleeping bag, and we'll have somebody sending you hot coffee and biscuits. Okay? All right. Now let's see. Trial day 13. Okay. So, get to the start of this. At 9 a.m. the court session began. The prosecution had rested its case just before 5 p.m. Thursday. Allen's defense team called two witnesses, which we went over the last time we talked about this. The defense said at the end of the day that they were working out exactly how they'll move forward on calling witnesses as they wait on the judge to rule on a few key motions. At 9:01, the jury entered the courtroom. Court's back in session. The judge told the defense attorney, Brad Rozzi, that they will chat about his motions that he's filed on transports during the lunch break. The judge said the jury has once again had supervised contact with their electronic devices. The defense called on Christopher Gauthier, what is his last name, Gauthier, and the state immediately calls for a sidebar that lasts 9 minutes. Gauthier tells the jury he is a Hammond, Indiana police officer and has a background as an EMT. He said he has training in interviewing witnesses and suspects. Defense attorney Jennifer Auger asks him about the importance of correctly documenting interviews, and Gauthier says he was with an FBI gang response task force, or GRIT, and they focus on kidnappings. Gauthier tells the jury that GRIT assisted with the Delphi investigation by canvassing neighborhoods and conducting interviews. He said he worked on the investigation for over a week. Gauthier said he spoke to Brad Weber during the investigation. And then Auger asked Gauthier what Weber said about where he went after work on February 13th, 2017. She asked Gauthier what an FBI 302 is. Gauthier says it's a report from an interview. Auger shows him an exhibit, which is an FBI 302 report from his interview with Weber. Gauthier says he spoke to Weber on February 19th. He tells the jury that he doesn't know what Weber said despite looking at his own report. Auger finishes her questions, and the state does not cross-examine. That's a crazy thing. He doesn't know what he said even while looking at his report. At 9:27, the defense calls Dr. Diana Dwenger. Dr. Dwenger tells the jury that she oversees the Department of Behavioral Health at the Indiana Department of Corrections. She said she has been the director there since 2021. Dwenger says that her main job is to oversee the Indiana Department of Corrections contract with the contractor who actually does the employing for the IDOC's behavioral staff. Dwenger told the jury that she generally knows who Richard Allen is, and she confirmed that Richard Allen was transferred out of Westville Correctional Facility. She says the solitary units at Westville and the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility are similar. She says she's not personally met Richard Allen, and she did not make the decision to move him and doesn't know who did. She says that Dr. Monica Walla, the assigned psychologist for Richard Allen, told her after she was assigned to Allen that she had a special interest. Dwenger says she told the jury that Walla told her about listening to Delphi podcasts and recommended it to her in early 2023. Dwenger said she knew that Walla had visited the Mononhigh Bridge, but said it was before being assigned to Allen. Dwenger told the jury that she thought it was unusual to visit the crime scene of someone you work with, but said that Walla talked to her direct supervisor about the issue more. The state requested another sidebar about the use of the words crime scene. Dwenger told the jury that she is familiar with Dr. Martin and that he is a psychiatrist and that he administers medication. She said Dr. Martin is no longer working at IDOC. She said that Richard Allen was assessed in Indianapolis and was assigned a D, the letter D, code in mental health, and that D code means a person who would benefit from a specific and personal therapy treatment plan. Dwenger told the jury she doesn't know if there's ever been safekeepers in either Westville or Wabash Valley. She says she doesn't know why he was assigned there. She says she knew that there were video cameras in his cell and that worried her. She said she recommended the video be removed, but it didn't happen. Dwenger told the jury that solitary confinement can impact mental health and that it's not unreasonable to think being in solitary would have a negative impact over time. She said 30 or more days of solitary happens only if the inmate is severely mentally ill. She told the jury that the 30-day rule exists to keep people from being in there too long. Dwenger told the jury that Allen was gravely disabled. She explained that the difference between mental health monitoring and mental health treatment. She said treatment is more focused on actual therapeutics. She said that therapeutic setting at Westville was not ideal. Dwenger confirmed that she was on a team that discussed Richard Allen's care, though she was not directly treating him. She described herself as a sounding board for those that were treating him. The state requests another sidebar after Rozzi asked Dwenger about solitary confinement for mentally ill patients. At 9:56, Rozzi ends his questioning, and the prosecution attorney, Stacy Diner, begins her cross-examination of Dwenger. Dwenger confirms that Allen was not severely mentally ill and began to decompensate until he was in the Westville Correctional Unit. She said she was first contacted about Allen in April of 2023. She says that's when his core team was formed. The first contact that she describes was coming from Dr. Walla, asking if Richard Allen could have a meeting with his wife. Dwenger tells the jury at one point that Walla told her that Allen was faking it. Dwenger told the jury that the team was called an MDT, a multidisciplinary team. She explains that gravely ill means you aren't able to take care of yourself. She said it got to a point where it didn't matter if he was faking it because they needed to intervene. Dwenger explains Haldol shots to the jury. She says it helps with some psychosis symptoms, and being gravely ill is a symptom of psychosis. Rozzi objects and says it was a leading question. At 10:04 a.m., Diner ends the cross-examination and Rozzi begins his redirect. The prosecution asks for a sidebar. The state objects again after Rozzi asks another question. And the jury asks questions. Question 1 from the jury: does the DOC ever place safekeepers in general population? Dwenger says yes. Question 2: could it be possible that Allen was faking so he would not be moved to general pop? Dwenger says it was possible, but she doesn't know for Allen. Question 3: did you hear threats to Richard Allen from other inmates yourself? Dwenger says no. Question 4: could a person slip in truth of a confession even when faking it? Dwenger says it is hard to tell, but yes, she says you can tell if people are faking it based on the organization of thoughts. If the conversation is a goal-oriented and chronological, she says Allen was not having delirium. Question 5: what is the typical process for safekeepers with severe mental illness? And Dwenger says the same as general. Question 6: what is the primary obligation to a safekeeper working with an inmate with severe mental illness? Dwenger says the same as general. Okay, then they went on a recess. They're back in session. Let's see here. The defense called Max Baker, who is an intern and who works for the defense. He's a graduate of IU and has worked on the case since November of 2022. He told the jury that he heard Harsman's testimony. Let's see, at this point, a reporter noted that Richard Allen's wife, Kathy, left the courtroom with 3 others. Max Baker testifies that he has reviewed most of Richard Allen's phone calls and videos from Westville. He said he was asked to complete video of Allen at Westville and put it on a flash drive. The prosecution is continually objecting. Baker says the video was given to the prosecution as part of the discovery. He says that there are two main video formats: camcorder video and security camera video. The camcorder video is a video outside of Allen's cell, and the security video is inside his cell. The camcorder video has sound. The security video does not. Baker told the jury that the camcorder video did not have a timestamp. It was just put in folders with the general timeline information. He says he tried to piece it together as best as possible. He explained that in-cell video on the flash drive is from the 15th of every month from November 2022 to December 2023, aside from April to July of 2023, where there is more video than just on the 15th. The defense asked to admit the video, and they also show spreadsheets that explain the videos by date and time the video was taken. The prosecution objects, and there's another sidebar, and they go on another recess. The defense filed a motion requesting an FBI special agent be allowed to testify remotely. They want Adam Pohl, who is currently working in San Antonio, Texas, to testify. They say he is a necessary witness for the defense, and that his testimony will only take 30 minutes. Pohl is currently the election crime coordinator for the FBI San Antonio, Texas division. Defense says it's extremely difficult for Pohl to appear in person given his current job responsibilities pertinent to the November 5th election. He was previously assigned to Indiana. Okay, and then we go here. Court's back in session. At 1:10, the defense called Brad Heath. Heath told the jury that he lives just outside of Delphi and is 70 years old. He worked for Reliable Exterminators and retired 5 years ago. Heath says that he managed a company business for the Delphi area and the surrounding spots. He describes doing a job at a company called Anderson's and the scans of the building he did on February 13th of 2017. His last scan was 2:06 p.m. Defense attorney Brad Rossi hands Heath a report that he requested that shows what Heath did that day at that stop. The report refers to Heath seeing a vehicle at 8:45 a.m. the morning of the murders. He noticed it was in the same location that afternoon. Heath said the car was halfway down the road near the CPS building, parked about 2 feet off the road. Heath said it was an older car and it looked out of place. He said he went to law enforcement a week after the crimes to tell them after he realized what happened. Heath said he talked to law enforcement a few times over the years at his own prompting, and Heath says he recently spoke to law enforcement about having seen a car that looked like it was in a movie. He said the car was a 4-door that looked like it was from the 80s or 90s. He said it was 150 to 250 yards away when he saw it. The defense shows a photo of the car. Heath says he has no recollection of cars being in the CPS lot or not. He said he saw a lot of different angles of the same car at different points throughout the day. The prosecution had no questions for Heath. Then the defense called David McCain. McCain says he lives just outside of Delphi. He says he's lived there for 20 years and he's 79. McCain says that he's a longtime volunteer and was a project manager for the Monon High Bridge Trail. McCain told the jury that he went to the bridge many times as a child and he started planning to develop the trail in 2013. He said he's walked that bridge many times and was out there just a month ago. McCain said he was on the trail and bridge on February 13th of 2017. He said he got to the trails at 2 or 3 p.m. and he parked on the Mears entrance. He said he saw no other cars there and he walked to the high bridge. He said he took photos and walked just the beginning of the bridge. McCain said the bridge is 65 feet above the water and you can clearly see it below. He told the jury that he used a camera, not a phone, to take pictures that day. He said he did that for less than a half an hour, and he said that he saw a couple while there. He said it could have been before or after he went to the bridge. He said there may have been people off in the distance that he saw, but he only passed the couple. McCain said he left before 4 p.m. He said he was surprised at the number of people at the Mears entrance when he returned to his car. McCain told the jury that he did not see pedestrians on 300 North when he left. He said, "Someone shouted to me, 'Have you seen the girls?' when he was leaving the entrance." He said that evening he was at a community meeting and some emergency people said they were investigating missing kids. McCain said he became concerned about the girls and he called the sheriff's office to say he was there that day. McCain said 2 FBI agents and 1 ISP agent came to his house. The judge allows McCain to look at the document. Luttrell asks him if he left at 4 p.m. or shortly after. He says yes. McCain says the man shouting at him that day was a pretty large man in a bright orange jacket. He said something like, "Have you seen the girls?" in a concerned way. At 2:05 p.m., the defense called former Delphi Fire Chief Darrell Sterrett. This is the 8th witness the defense has called. Sterrett said he grew up in Delphi and graduated in 1985. He said he's been a firefighter for 36 years. He was the fire chief on February 13th of 2017. He said that he was at the station house around 6 that night because there was a training event. He said that word came in that the 2 girls were missing. He then said he went to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office where a joint command was set up. He said that he tried to figure out where they were and sent people to search for them. He told the jury that they were directing the search through dispatch and that Mullen and Lazenby were in charge of the search. Sterrett is shown a document that kept track of where firefighters, cadets, and officers were that day. He said they are entirely volunteer fire department, but everyone was at the station that day because of the training event. Sterrett tells the jury that they were notified about the girls at 7:01 p.m. He said he left to go to Unified Command at 7:10 p.m. He said about 6 of the volunteer firefighters were at the bridge that night around 9:30 p.m. He took his personal vehicle and the volunteer firefighters took 2 fire trucks. Sterrett said he entered the trails off of 625 West and he drove to the end of it and parked. He said there were houses on the left. He said he parked in someone's yard. He said 1 vehicle drove up to the bridge, but the others walked. Sterrett told the jury that they needed the search to be boots on the ground. He said he thought the girls were scared and cold. It was not an organized grid-type search, he said. He said the searchers were separated by varying degrees of distance. He said that he stayed more southwest of the bridge, only on the east side a bit. Sterrett said that he left the scene at 1:30 a.m. or 2 a.m. on February 14th, and then he corrects himself and says he left at 2:30 a.m. on February 14th. Sterrett said he ordered a search north, south, east, and west of the bridge. In a deposition, he said there may have been higher intensity lights from vehicles, but he's not sure. He said the night was very dark and that firefighters were using department-issued flashlights which had a spot or flood setting. He said someone may have shined a light on Deer Creek to check for the girls. Sterrett told the jury that nobody from his team saw anything floating in the creek, and they did not hear anyone shout out saying they saw anything. He said he could hear people during the search. The prosecution doesn't cross-examine this witness. The jury asks 2 questions. How long ago did you give your deposition? Did you get a copy at the time? And Sterrett replies that it was 3 weeks ago and it was mailed to him. Did you search the area southeast of the cemetery, they asked. He replied, I did not personally. The defense, let's see, they went to recess, and let's see. Judge Gold denied a renewed defense request to present testimony about Odinism, Norse paganism, and ritualistic killing. The judge also will not allow testimony about potential other suspects. The judge's decisions came after arguments in the court late Friday afternoon. The defense team had asked for a ruling on their motion, which had been made days earlier, before they proceed with additional witnesses before the jury. A pool reporter shared notes from the late afternoon session. Steve Mullen, the former Delphi police chief, took the stand. Mullen was chief in 2017 when the girls' bodies were found. He's now the investigator for Carroll County. The first question to him from the defense team for suspect Richard Allen: how important would you say it is to preserve evidence? Mullen said it's important to everyone. Andrew Baldwin then asked, how important would it be to alert the defense if there's missing evidence? The prosecution objected to the question, leading to the sidebar of the prosecution and defense team. Baldwin implied evidence in Delphi's murder case has gone missing, and the fact was being kept from the prosecution. Baldwin said he wants the jury to understand how Mullen's credibility could be in doubt. Returning to questions from Baldwin, Mullen admitted important interviews of dozens of witnesses in the Delphi murder investigations from February 14th and sometime in early March of 2017 were not made available to the prosecution or to the defense. In August, they discovered the problem, which included a digital video recorder, Mullen said. According to the pool reporter's notes, the former police chief said the videos were lost and later recovered, but they didn't have audio. There was nothing I could do to recover the interviews, Mullen said. Mullen drafted 2 undated reports about the missing interviews. However, the former police chief said both the prosecution and the defense team had those interviews that were available. Baldwin said, was there a single person that was re-interviewed from the missing interviews? I believe there was, but I don't recall, Mullen responded. He said he couldn't answer without refreshing his memory. The defense team didn't learn about the missing interviews until February of this year. The questioning from Baldwin next turned to Brad Weber. The Carroll County resident lives off of 625 West County Road, just outside of Delphi, and owns property near the Monon High Bridge where the girls were killed. Former police chief said he met with Weber in August of this year but did not record the interview. I could have, but I didn't, Mullen said. Weber had testified Wednesday that he worked the first shift at Subaru near Lafayette and was at work on February 13, 2017, the day of the murders. Weber said he went home from 5:41 a.m. to 2:02 p.m. and then his drive home would be approximately 20-25 minutes. The next question to Mullen involved whether his interview with Weber saw any inconsistencies, and he said yes, there is some conflict about it. Next, Baldwin alluded to the police interview of Richard Allen. How long have you believed that only one person was involved in the murders of Abby and Libby? Since the arrest of Richard Allen, Mullen added. Before that, did you believe there were more people involved in the crime? Baldwin asked him. It doesn't matter what I believed. Baldwin later tried to ask questions of Mullen about 2 witnesses, Betsy Blair and Sarah Carbow, who were on the Monon High Bridge trail the same day as Abby and Libby. Prosecution objected. After the sidebar, the trial moved ahead. Just after 4 p.m., Baldwin asked Mullen, do you believe sticks were placed on their bodies? I don't know, Mullen replied. Later, Mullen was asked about a camera at the trail. The former police chief said the camera recorded video but no audio. On February 14th, in the wee hours, Mullen said, it showed that there was someone in front of the camera on that day. that the search was taking place. The person in front of the trail cam pictured in the trail cam. The former police chief said the trail cam is located west of where the girls' bodies were found. After the girls' bodies were discovered in 2017, tips were taken through a special process set up by a group of law enforcement agencies. Mullen testified they'd only received one tip about Allen. Mullen also testified that he didn't know why it took so long to process the DNA from the crime scene. In August of 2019, the Indiana State Police released a short video and an audio clip from Libby German's phone in which a person was heard saying, "Down the hill." The full video has previously been shown to the jury. Baldwin asked if the law enforcement groups got any tips from the clip released in 2019, August. Mullen said perhaps hundreds of tips were received. Baldwin also asked if Mullen believed that Allen ever returned to the scene, and Mullins replied, "I don't know." Next, Baldwin asked how many times Allen confessed before being moved, reportedly for his safety, from the Carroll County Jail to the Westville Correctional Facility. "None," Mullen replied. In the cross-examination from the prosecution and the redirect from the defense team, Mullins later provided the following information. Weber had consented to a test of his Sig Sauer gun. It was determined that gun was not connected to a cartridge found at the crime scene. Mullen remembered details of the August contact with Weber because he'd reviewed text messages. Next came questions from the jury. Mullen revealed that investigators later identified the person seen on the trail cam. That person's name was not shared. Mullen also said the place where the bodies were found could not be seen from the trail cam. He said the trail cam's timestamp was accurate. On another question, Mullen said he believed that the place where the bodies were found was where the girls died. The next witness was Toby Liansby, who was the Carroll County Sheriff from 2015 to 2022. He's now a chief deputy for the sheriff's office. Toby testified he always thought only one person was involved in the girls' deaths. Defense attorney Baldwin, however, noted Toby's August 2023 deposition, and Toby replied trial information was multiple or at least two. Baldwin asked Toby, "You felt 10 months after Richard Allen's arrest that at least two people were involved?" That drew the objections from the prosecution, and the judge overruled the last objection. Baldwin then asked Toby if he knew of anyone who believed more than one killer was involved. The prosecution again objected, but the judge overruled the objection. And Toby said Detective Tony Leggett, who's the current Carroll County Sheriff, believed more than one killer was involved based on a 2017 conversation. "Why did they think that?" Baldwin asked. And Toby said it was based on the totality of the information provided to investigators at that time period. In a cross-examination, Toby affirmed that Leggett didn't have details. Toby also told the prosecution he'd not personally investigated any murders during his career, but was involved in murder investigations at lower levels. And next came a motion from the defense to have inmates in the Indiana Department of Correction facilities to be transported. The defense also noted its latest motion to admit evidence of Odinism, modern pagan religion, and Old Norse religion. A third motion asked for a witness, an FBI agent who is out of state, to appear remotely. The judge granted the motion for inmate Jesse James to be transported to the courtroom in Delphi. She denied the motion to allow testimony about Odinism, and she also denied any witnesses via video conferencing. The trial will resume at 9 a.m. on Saturday. So that's a lot. I'm going to take another poll and see what you guys think, because It's really, a lot of people are a little bit confused on this about what's going on and the evidence that's there. So I'm going to take a poll. I'm going to engage with the audience and start a poll here. Okay. There's the poll. So you can answer that. Let's see what you guys. Hi, Muffy Dragon Slayer. How are you? Video Reel. Hello. Oh, I'm in top chat. That's not good. Go to live chat. Okay. Stream and data is solid. Sorry you're having issues. Oh, it's okay. I'm okay. I make it work, Video Reel. You know that. Make it work. So let's see. So right now, we're getting our votes in. We still have 20% that are undecided. 27, oops, it's changing like crazy as the votes are coming in. So 25% undecided, 67% say guilty, 8% say no. Oh, it's changing again. Now 71 say, oh, again it's changing. Okay, so we're just, let's see, give it a little time here. 73% say guilty, 20% are undecided, and 7% say he's not guilty. Interesting. I would like to add, do you think there's another person? You know, to have like a two-part question. But now we're getting 72% saying yes, he's guilty, 11% saying no, 17%, 16% undecided. Undecided. Okay, 19% say undecided, 10% no, 71% say guilty. Richard Allen is guilty. Scooter, did you vote? I know Scooter says he's 100% guilty. There's not a doubt in her mind. A lot of you feel by him knowing about the van and the girls being slashed that he's guilty. My question is, okay, could, being that he worked at CVS, could there have been any law enforcement that may have, and they went to bars, and I don't know, could somebody have slipped and told him something? I don't know. Just a thought. You know how people talk? People talk, right? A lot of people have loose lips. A lot of people have loose lips. I did, Debbie said. I did. You did. Oh, you voted? Debbie 2 Scooter. Do you think there's only one person? Debbie 2 Scooter? And you're 100% certain, right? Kevin. Let me see something else now, please. Okay, let's see here. I guess Gypsy made a new TikTok. Is it from Universal? I don't think it's new. Did she turn it up? She took Ken to Bubblegum Shrimp. And that's where she had that license plate thing on the back of her bed that said Mama Loves You. That was from Bubblegum Shrimp. Did you know that? And she had Jenny and Forrest Halloween costumes. Interesting. But that was that little license plate in the back of her bed in the crime scene that said Mama Loves You or something. It was from Bubblegum Shrimp. Yes. Let's see. Okay. Crafting. She went to 4 haunted houses. Okay. Let me see here. She put this on you to. Since 8 years old, I supported you, and now I've just turned 18. I will always support and respect you. Glad you are doing well now that I'm proud of you, beautiful. You have helped me so much to get over my past life. What is this about? Who'd she write this to? Oh, somebody wrote this about her? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Gypsy Rose. Now they're all talking about this Melissa Moore, who's the daughter of the smiley face killer, who is the one that is endorsing a lot of her projects, including her documentary, the first one, and let me see here. Melissa Moore and Gypsy Rose. Let's see what that is about. Okay, so she's responsible for Gypsy's book deals and everything else that's making her rich and famous. Okay. That's Melissa Moore. Profits off her dad's serial murders, and promoting a murderer who killed her mother. Oh. This is like 6 months ago. These comments. Let's see what they're saying. I don't understand how people are. This is 6 months ago. Keep this in mind. How people are still supporting Gypsy so much. Just because she wasn't the one holding the knife doesn't make her a good person. Okay. Someone said she's meaning Melissa Moore is no better than Gypsy. She's made a whole arse career these past 20 years of being the daughter of a serial killer. She was there at Gypsy's release party with the family. It didn't even shock me. She gets everywhere. It's weird. Melissa Moore is the real-life version of Seaver from Criminal Minds. I honestly can't believe anyone would want to be associated in any way with a relative who did such horrible things. Interesting. Melissa Moore documentary. Let's see here. Here's a press release. Lifetime has announced the premiere of a documentary, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a true crime documentary from Category 6 Media, part of the A&E Factual Studios Group, and Weintraub client Melissa Moore. The 6-hour special, debuting over 3 nights, January 5th, 6th, and 7th of 2024, features unprecedented access to the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Moore has been documenting Gypsy and her story since 2017. Melissa Moore is the executive producer and is represented by Weintraub shareholder Sean Gordon. Let's see. Lifetime is bringing the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard to the screen. Oh, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. On the Lifetime screen. She's been given the green. Okay, sorry. The network has announced the 3-day documentary event, The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, for premiere in early 2024. It's a 6-hour special. It's going to debut as 2-hour episodes the 5th, 6th, and 7th of January at 8 p.m. Features unprecedented access to Blanchard, a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. No, that's a lie. Who suffered horrific abuse and made national headlines for her role in her mother's violent murder. The docu-special provides Blanchard the platform to share her story her way, says Lifetime, and you can watch the trailer. Currently still incarcerated, Blanchard is set for release in December and is finally ready to tell her truth. Her truth is not the truth. Before she becomes a free woman for the first time in her life. As Lifetime approaches its 40th anniversary next year, they're excited that Gypsy, like many other women before her, has entrusted us to help tell her story. Oh, wow, what an honor. Let's see. What did I say about this? Listen more. The Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose Blanchard comes from Category 6 Media, part of the A&E Factual Studios Group, and Emmy nominee Melissa Moore, Monster in My Family, whose executive produces and has documented Gypsy since 2017. And she said, and I quote, "I've been documenting Gypsy's coming of age in prison for the past 7 years, and over the course of this time, I watched her transform into a woman who holds responsibility for her past and now has the courage to face an unknown, new free world for the first time." Please. Oh my goodness. Okay, time to look at the... Do you think Richard Allen is guilty? 66% yes. Undecided 7%, and 28% are undecided. So 66% yes, no 7%, undecided 28%. Thank you for taking the poll. Hi, easily distracted. So that's what we have there. Now let me just check something else here. Oh my gosh, more than 1,600 seafood products have been recalled from a popular grocery store. Oh my gosh, and there's a taco recall. This is crazy. It is. It's just crazy. Let's see what's going on here. The items were sold between the 25th and the 29th of October in 12-ounce plastic containers. They were distributed to consumers at Hannaford grocery stores in 5 states: Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, and New York. If this sounds like a familiar purchase, check your label. The product was produced by R. Walters LLC, DBA Elevation Foods, a Massachusetts-based company. The items are labeled as Hannaford Seafood Salad, and they bear a UPC code of 0412-682-51612. Expiration dates November 13th and November 14th. Hannaford has been notified of the problem and has removed the product from its store. They were mislabeled. They were reportedly created to reflect an upcoming seafood salad that no longer includes soy. Okay, so it's something just about, it's not about listeria, so that's okay, I guess, in some way, right? Oh my gosh, that is so sad. Okay, I just saw something that was so sad. All right. Taco recall issued in 30 states. Taco recall. Numerous products have been recalled due to potential contamination with listeria, I can't speak. Taco, enchilada, quesadilla, stir-fry, and salad meal kits produced by Reese's Fine Foods were recalled earlier, and due to the inclusion of recalled chicken from ingredient supplier Bruce Pack. The products were distributed, my gosh, it looks like all 50 states. You better check it out. FDA warns and demands immediate withdrawal of these baby products due to contamination. Oh my goodness. Dynacare brand baby powder with asbestos. Oh my gosh, where the heck is that from? A naturally occurring mineral known for its hazardous health implications. This recall affects products that were distributed to 35 states and sold online, including on Amazon. Dynarex. Dynarex Corporation has responded by expanding its initial recall. The expanded recall now encompasses an additional 373 boxes of 14-ounce baby powder, 647 boxes of 4-ounce baby powder, all under the DynaCare brand. These products, identified by specific lot numbers found on the bottom of the bottles and boxes, were distributed in packs of 24-48. This swift action by Dynarex aims to mitigate any potential risks posed by the presence of asbestos. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. The baby powder sold in Tennessee and other states recalled. Okay, this is crazy. "29 children could be facing the death penalty in Nigeria after they were arraigned Friday for participating in a protest against the country's record cost of living crisis. 4 of them collapsed in court due to exhaustion before they could even enter a plea. A total of 76 protesters were charged with 10 felony counts, including treason, destruction of property, public disturbance, and mutiny. According to the charge sheet, the minors ranged in age from 14 to 17. Frustration over the cost of living crisis has led to several mass protests in recent months. In August, at least 20 people were shot dead, and hundreds more were arrested at a protest demanding better opportunities and jobs for young people. The death sentence was introduced in the 1970s in Nigeria, but there have been no executions in the country since 2016. A private lawyer said the Child Rights Act does not allow any child to be subjected to criminal proceedings and sentenced to death, so taking minors before a federal court is wrong, except if the government is able to prove that the boys are all above 19 years old. The court eventually granted $10 million, or the equivalent of $5,900 bail to each of the defendants, and imposed stringent conditions that they are yet to meet. Country that has a duty to educate its children will decide to punish those children. Those children have been in detention for 90 days without food. Wow. Despite being one of the top crude oil producers in Africa, Nigeria remains one of the world's poorest countries. Chronic corruption means the lifestyle of its public officials rarely mirrors that of the general population. Medical professionals often strike to protest meager wages. The country's politicians and lawmakers, often accused of corruption, are some of the best paid in Africa. Even the president's wife, her office, nowhere in the Constitution, is entitled to SUVs and other luxuries funded by the taxpayers. Okay. Health experts warn against taking a common painkiller amid spike in norovirus cases. With the recent spike in norovirus cases, the experts in the health field have warned people not to use a common painkiller to treat the stomach bug. Which is that? An epidemiologist, Amy Douglas from the UK Health Security Agency, said as we head into the winter season, we are seeing norovirus levels higher than usual, and we expect the virus to spread during the coming weeks. Those who become ill from the norovirus may be reaching for the medicine cupboard to find a drug to treat the symptoms. However, she warned against reaching for ibuprofen. Ibuprofen is not recommended. She said there's another common painkiller you can take, paracetamol, which can relieve aches and pains, including headaches, and reduce your body temperature. Avoid taking ibuprofen, as this should not be taken on an empty stomach, and you may not feel like eating. While ibuprofen shouldn't be taken on an empty stomach, as it can unsettle the lining, paracetamol is safe to do so. There is no treatment for neurovirus, so you have to let it run its course. Okay. See here. Baby powder recall expanded to 35 states, including Florida. A massive brush fire spreads in San Diego, causing evacuations. South Carolina executes Richard Moore despite broadly supported plea. Richard Moore, I wonder if they're going to execute Tim Jones. Let's see. Let me see here. All right, let's see. Where did the picture go? Zero sense. The picture is just running around here, running amok. Hang on a minute. Get over there. Again. Now I've got a tiny picture, but we'll make it bigger. All right, let's see what we've got here. South Carolina put Richard Moore to death by lethal injection Friday for the 1999 fatal shooting of a convenience store clerk, despite a broad appeal for mercy by parties that included 3 jurors and the judge from his trial, a former prison director, pastors, and members of his family. Moore, 59 years old, was pronounced dead at 6:24 p.m. He was convicted of killing James Mahoney, the Spartanburg clerk, in September of 1999 and sentenced to death 2 years later. Moore went into the store unarmed, took a gun from the victim when it was pointed at him, and fatally shot him in the chest as the victim shot him with a second gun in the arm. Moore's lawyers asked Republican Governor Henry McMaster to reduce his sentence to life in prison without parole because of his spotless prison record and willingness to be a mentor to the other inmates. They said it would be unjust to execute someone for what could be considered self-defense and unfair that Moore, who was black, was the only inmate on the state's death row convicted by a jury without any African Americans. But McMaster refused to grant clemency. In a letter, he did not give a reason why, but he said he reviewed all the items submitted by Moore's lawyers and spoke to the victims' families. No South Carolina governor has reduced a death sentence, and 45 executions have now been carried out in the state since the U.S. Supreme Court allowed states to restart them nearly 50 years ago. Unlike in previous executions, the curtain to the death chamber was open when media witnesses arrived. Moore's last words were already read by Lindsey Vann, his lawyer of 10 years. Hold on a minute. Choking on something. Moore had his eyes closed. His head was pointed towards the ceiling. A prison employee announced the execution could begin at 6:01 p.m. Moore took several deep breaths that sounded like snores over the next minute, and then he took some shallow breaths until about 6:04 when his breathing stopped, and Moore showed no obvious signs of discomfort. Vann cried as the employee announced the execution could start. She clutched a prayer bracelet with a cross. Excuse me. Sitting behind her was a spiritual advisor, his hands on his knees, palms up. Two members of the victim's family were also present, along with the solicitor Barry Barnett, who was on the prosecution team that convicted Moore. They all watched stoically. Afterwards, the prison spokeswoman Christy Shane read his last words at a news conference. To the family of Mr. James Mahoney, I am deeply sorry for the pain and sorrow I've caused you all. To my children and granddaughters, I love you and I'm so proud of you. Thank you for the joy you have brought to my life. To all my family and friends, new and old, thank you for your love and support. His final meal was steak cooked medium, fried catfish and shrimp, scalloped potatoes, green peas, broccoli with cheese, sweet potato pie, German chocolate cake, and grape juice. Three jurors who condemned Moore to death in 2001, including one who wrote Friday, sent letters asking McMaster to change his sentence to life without parole. They were joined by a former state prison director, Moore's trial judge, his son and daughter, and a half a dozen childhood friends and several pastors. They all said that Moore, 59, was a changed man who loved God, doted on on his new grandchildren the best he could. He helped guards keep the peace, and he mentored other prisoners after his addiction to drugs clouded his judgment and led to the shootout in which Mahoney was killed. According to the clemency petition, he was not a danger to anyone, and the state eliminated a glowing example of reform and rehabilitation. By killing Richard, the state also created more victims. Richard's children are now fatherless, and his grandchildren will have to grow up without their papa. Moore previously had 2 execution dates postponed as the state sorted through the issues that created a 13-year pause in the death penalty, including companies' refusal to sell the state lethal injections, a hurdle that was solved by passing a secrecy law. Let's see. Moore is the second inmate executed in South Carolina since it resumed executions. 4 more are out of appeals, and the state appears ready to put them to death in 5-week intervals throughout the spring. There are now 30 people on death row. The governor said before the execution that he would carefully review everything sent by Moore's lawyers and, as is customary, wait until minutes before the execution started to announce his decision after hearing that all appeals were finished. Clemency is a matter of grace, a matter of mercy. There is no standard. There is no real law on it, McMaster said on Thursday. Prosecutors and Mahoney's relatives have not spoken publicly in the weeks leading up to the execution, did not speak after. In the past, family members have said they suffered deeply and just wanted justice to be served. Moore's lawyers say his original attorneys did not analyze the crime scene carefully, and they left unchallenged prosecutors' contention that Moore, who came into the store unarmed, fired at a customer, and that was his intention from the start of the robbery. According to their account, the clerk pulled a gun on Moore after the two argued because he was 12 cents short of what he wanted to buy. Moore said he wrestled the gun from Mahoney's hand, and the clerk pulled a second weapon. Moore was shot in the arm and fired back, hitting Mahoney in the chest. Moore then went behind the counter and stole about $1,400. No one else on South Carolina's death row started their crime unarmed with no intention to kill, Moore's current attorneys say. John Osmond, a former prosecutor who was a director of the South Carolina Department of Corrections from 2003 to 2011, and who added his voice to those seeking clemency, said Moore's case was not the worst of the worst kind of crime that would usually prompt a death penalty case. There are plenty of people who were not sentenced to death but committed much more heinous crimes, citing the example of Todd Colehep, who was given a life sentence after pleading guilty to killing 7 people, including a woman he arred and tortured for days. Lawyers for Moore, who is black, also said his trial was not fair. There were no African Americans on the jury, even though 20% of Spartanburg County residents were black. This execution underscores the flaws in South Carolina's death penalty system. Who is executed versus who is allowed to live out their lives in prison appears to be based on no more than chance, race, or status. It is intolerable that our state metes out the ultimate punishment in such a haphazard way. Okay, so let's see here now. Walking pneumonia is spreading. Okay, let's see. New research may have discovered an unexpected driver behind the mysterious rise of colon cancer cases in young people. The study found patients with high blood sugar levels were up to 65% more likely to be diagnosed with cancer before 50 than their peers. Diabetics were at the highest risk, but those with prediabetes, where blood sugar levels are higher than normal but not high enough to be classified as diabetes, were also at an elevated risk. Crazy. Okay, let's see, what have we got here? People with this blood type are more likely to have the stroke. So what blood type is that? Research shows that people with the blood type A are more likely to suffer from a stroke before the age of 60 compared to people with other blood types, according to a study published in the Journal of Neurology. Interesting. Okay, let's see what else we have. A new rat-borne illness is here in the U.S. There are the symptoms. Oh, wow. Crazy. Okay, researchers find a critical link between vaccination and Alzheimer's disease. What vaccination? Let's see. Adult vaccinations and reduced risk. The Journal of Alzheimer's Disease recently unveiled a version of this study online, and it says, let's see. Oh, it found that people who had received at least one influenza vaccine saw a 40% reduction in Alzheimer's risk compared to those who hadn't. And physical fitness is linked to substantially lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Coffee drinkers rejoice. Drinking coffee could lower the risk of it. Simple memory tests could signal it years before the symptoms show. Huh. Interesting. All right, let's go. There was something else I had to check out for 1 second. Let's see what happened here. Shoot, stop it. I don't get it. Somebody. It's terrible. Okay. It's too sad. I'm not even going to go through that one. All right, let me look at something else. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. What's this about? Micah Miller. Hold on. There's something new that happened in the case. Months after Micah Miller's death, the FBI raided her pastor husband's home. Local authorities have said in May that the FBI was conducting a parallel investigation into John Paul Miller after Micah Miller's death was ruled a suicide. The FBI searched the home of John Paul Miller, whose wife Micah died by suicide in April. A spokesperson for the FBI did not respond. Let me see here. They all reported agents were seen outside of John Paul Miller's home in Horry County, South Carolina. Both WPDE and WBTW reported that an FBI spokesperson said the agency was conducting a court-authorized law enforcement activity at the home. Miller's lawyer, Russell Long, confirmed that the FBI searched the house. They executed a search warrant at his house this morning as expected. Long said, "Nothing new, really. Hopefully this is the end of it." Micah Miller, 30, was found dead in a state park in Robeson County, North Carolina, from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, according to local authorities. Micah and John Paul, who is the pastor at Solid Rock at Market Common in Myrtle Beach, were estranged at the time of her death, just over a week before she died. Micah filed for separation, support, and maintenance against John Paul, which is the same as a legal separation, the Horry County clerk said. Now let's see. Micah's loved ones have speculated that there could have been foul play involved in her death, but local authorities have adamantly pushed back, saying evidence of her harming herself was clear and convincing. The search of John Paul Horry's County's home comes months after the Robeson County Sheriff said in May that the FBI was conducting a parallel investigation that was not involved with Micah's death. There's no evidence connecting him to her death, Damian McLean said of the Robeson County Sheriff's Office. The FBI has not said what the nature of the investigation is. So, don't know what that was. Okay, let's see. Cause of death. All right, let me see what you guys are doing. Blessing you is okay. And they say cannabis smokers are more likely of a heart attack. Okay, well, I think we should just do this and how did she do what? She shot herself, Alyssa. Daily puzzle. Okay, let's see. Do, Hugh, led, what do we have? Oopsie. Heal. You. Nope. Hi, Emmy. Really? Okay. thought wield was the big word. Isn't that weird? What is it? What is video reel saying? What's easy? Video reel. What is easy? Video reel. What are you talking about? Weedle. That's what I had it. I just forgot the, I was there. A Weedle. All right. No one's cheating, video reel. Calm down. Calm down, video reel. Calm down. Uh-oh. Shoot. My YouTube went down there. You had to block video reel? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Did you get my PayPal? I asked you earlier because I don't know if it was sent to the right. address. Let me see here. No there. Okay, good. You got it. Okay, I got that one now. I just need one more. Oh, I got it. I did it. I did it. Wonderful. All right. I think. Oh, boom, yeah. And I guess booms. I think I'm going to go to sleep. But we'll see you. Hi, Alex, Michelle. How are you? Booyah. That's good. Booyah. Okay. All right. Well, ouch. See you guys later. Thank you for watching. Everybody be good. I'm good. Great live. Thank you, Alex. We'll see you later. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good night. Love you guys. God bless. Prayers.